Paradox can be blamed for a great many things, but I think, especially with E5, one of the things they can't really be blamed for is not listening to the community. There was quite a few complaints with the patches of the last couple of weeks where people were saying that the balance was changing rather too quickly and it would be better if it was an opt-in scenario. Well, they have listened, and now, with the release of patch 1.0.8, we now have the ability to opt into it, and instead of just automatically updating. And they go into, they show you how to do that. I'm gonna just do it myself. Right-click on E5 in your library, properties, go to betas, and then in the beta participation, choose 1.0.8. The most up-to-date and recent version. We'll have 1.04 there as well. You'll have a previous build, which I believe is also 1.04. You probably won't have the influencers one. And if you do, then you probably don't need me to tell you how to do all of this stuff anyway. But let us have a look at some of the patch notes for what we are getting in this patch, because this is also the one that comes with the different economic changes. Trade is now no longer going to affect your tax base, not tax base, your economic base. So it is not going to affect the cost of court, the stability sliders, all that kind of stuff. So people should generally see their income go up, not insignificantly. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. So, let us have a look at the patch notes, and thank you very much for making this an opt-in. I'm just always going to opt-in because it just makes sense to. Right. We've added 8 new advances for the Aztecs, 6 new advances for 2 Sicilies formable. That's nice and curious. I'm going to have a look at those. So, gameplay. Settle Frontier will no longer empty low-pop provinces. Lathe, time for you to go and play Cahokia again, because now the issue that you had is fixed, so you gotta go and do another run, right? Estate privileges are removed if the estate doesn't exist in the country. That makes sense. Kill all your noble pops off, and all the noble privileges go away. Curious. Cabinet actions remove old geography modifiers properly after being reassigned. So I believe this is something like the if you increase control and then you keep swapping it every month, you're getting, or without going through a monthly take, you do get a little bit of a boost anyway. You don't get that anymore. Higher Advisor no longer creates a Crown Estate Advisors. Well, look, nobody's using this anyway. This costs 17,000 ducats. Like, nobody has ever clicked this button. So giving somebody from the Crown Estate kind of made sense. Like, if I'm paying out the arse for these advisors, then yeah, give me somebody of the best estate. Now it's even less useful. Nobody is clicking this button regardless. It's terrible. Fix new rulers' attributes not applying to their country on ascending to the throne. Centralization now reduces subject loyalty up to 30. Okay, so they're trying to make it so that centralization and decentralization is less of a I'm objectively always just going to go for centralization. It's just better. Decentralization now increases subject loyalty with up to 30. It used to be plus 20. Removes the impact of maximum war exhaustion from centralization and decentralization. That's okay. That's fine. Max decentralization now recovers state satisfaction by another 2%. Whatever. Children's education has a more balanced improvement. Matrilineal non-exclusive succession law does take character abilities into account. Alright, whatever. Ruler's Diplo ability now impacts subject loyalty. It already did, kind of. It gives Diplo rep, but I guess now it also impacts the loyalty, which, yeah, it's a good change. It's a good change. Scotland's authority over clergy law now disappears if Scotland converts from Catholicism even. Whatever. Every 20k pops instead of every 200k gives a free building level in a location. So all these people that are running into like the ceiling of the amount of buildings you can build in a location, you're gonna get more building slots. Not by a ton, and in Europe you're probably only gonna see an extra like 2-3 buildings maybe, versus what you were before. But it's nice, and building over the cap costs quite a lot of money, so it's nice to see this. Implemented a system where prosperity decays down to 0 by default if there are no increases. This makes things like the centralization law, where you can choose between centralization and road building speed versus decentralization and a base amount of prosperity growth. That makes this that one more of a choice. A lot of people were complaining about the amount of prosperity in the game just being just way too high. This is going to help that, I think. It made a new formula for economical base that has a different scale versus values on taxes, pops, and trade. That is what I am mostly looking forward to. This is huge, absolutely huge. And you know what? I'm going to pause this recording. We're going to load up my save that I was playing yesterday in vanilla as Holland, and I'm going to see what the changes there are like. Okay, so for starters, this is a VOD of that I was playing last night, playing as the Netherlands. I played for 7 hours. But essentially we're going for some achievements. This is just to have a look at some numbers, right? We had 700 tax base, which was giving me an income of 836, and I was spending 655. I'm going to look specifically at two numbers here. The cost of the court is at 50 ducats. And my stability is also at 50 ducats. They're both at about half sliders. That's generally where I leave them. I've also got diplomatic spending at 50 ducats. How very convenient! All of these numbers at 50 ducats. Now, I've also opened the save. It's not at the same date. Basically, again, this is a VOD. So I had to find a place where I had the tax, the economy screen open. That was not the case. Right at the end. But September 84 versus May 85. And we've got numbers. Income, 851. Cost of court has gone down to 37. The diplomatic spending has gone down to 40. The stability has gone down to 40. Sliders in roughly the same place. Gaining 0.34 versus gaining 0.35. The sliders are basically in the same place. Tax base hasn't changed too much. 718 versus 700. Eco, 851 versus 836, and the trade income here is 475 versus 465. But again, there's a few months in between, so that could easily be just random fluctuations. This is actually very I like this. I like this a lot. I think these sliders are just anti-fun, so I'm kind of happy to see these be changed. I will, of course, need to play a brand new game, start a game on this patch, roll through it. I'm almost certainly going to give Milan another go, because I love that country. But so far, I like the look of this change. The tax base changes look to be solid. So, with that said and done, let's have a look and see what else we are getting. Tweak the cell location acceptance criteria. I guess this is a way to basically stop from taking a single location and then selling it to a rich neighbor for obscene numbers of ducats. Balancing prop growth values to compensate for lower prosperity levels. Remove some demands from some goods for slaves and tribesmen. Made some threshold for soldiers. Okay. Reduce noble demand for lacquerware to 10% of what it was before. Maybe this is going to stop the situation where as soon as you unlock the lacquerware manufactory in the age of something or other, you can basically make the absolute crap tons of money very, very easily by just building one building, and it gives you 500 ducats a month. That maybe not will be the case anymore. It's still going to be a very good building to build in Europe, but we'll see how that goes. Added trade profit and subject tax levels to be a part of the economic base calculations. Okay, okay. So trade profit, it used to be trade volume. So if I was basically purchasing some goods, and then, you sell those goods later, but the purchase price of the goods was what added to tax base, and now it's the profit that gets added. I'm totally fine with that. That seems reasonable. That seems very reasonable. Further rebalancing of the economic base and taking building-based countries into account. I don't care about these. They're just not something I really care to play right now. Japan is... maybe Japan isn't broken anymore. Maybe it is. I'm not sure. I have to give it a check. Maybe it's going to be somewhere in these change notes. But I don't want to play the Hansa. I don't want to play the banks. It's just not my vibe. Can no longer build or delete buildings in locations that are under siege. Can I make an suggestion? It should also not be able to delete buildings that have greater than 90% rebel progress. Because right now, oh, we're at 99 rebel progress. Let me just delete your forts. In Parrot, I had this system solved, this issue solved. Maybe we could, solve it again. Build automation, no, I don't like it anyway, but whatever. It no longer changes the employment system. Okay. Random characters more likely to be of primary and accepted cultures. Oh, bless. Let me see if I can show what the issue with that used to be or was or whatever. Do I have an unmarried character that I can marry? Do we have a sister potentially? Do you have a spouse? You don't have a spouse. He's dead. Just let me marry somebody. I go into people, go into characters. We want women that are not married, and we'll find adults as well, of course. Catherine Serkensa, let's let you marry a noble, and it looks like it mostly has already changed, because it used to be that every single character in this list was a Mayan for me, or Mayan, or the Mayans are still here. There's a lot of them still here, but it used to be that the vast majority of the characters were still Mayan. I mean, they kind of still are. There's a lot of Mayans in this noble characters list. Maybe that's no longer going to be the change. No longer going to be the case. Women over the age of 40 no longer get pregnant. I feel like that's ageist, but okay. No, it makes sense. Hatred election votes after long reigns of the previous leader accidentally pumped up the GP score weight. Okay, didn't notice that. Remove food access diplo option if you're fighting in a war with the other country. Thankfully, that's good, because anytime I went to war with somebody, then the people I'm on the same side as asking me for food access seems a bit silly. Can't sell a location when at war. Didn't know that was even possible, but okay. Fixed static antagonism related to societal values. Fixed as in maybe it's working now, or fixed as in like it doesn't add anymore. I would hope that it still adds some. Subject actions get cancelled after the subject is cancelled. Not sure what that one was referring to. Lacking rivals no longer makes you conciliatory, but instead makes you lose prestige. I mean, fine, I guess. Conciliatory no longer increases subject loyalty, but instead increases diplo reputation. Okay, I like that. Removes the base diplo for belligerent versus conciliatory. Conciliatory versus belligerent now impacts how much of an impact the shared border has. Reworked a bit how subject loyalty is impacted by relative power, made keeping subjects loyal a bit more fun. Okay, we'll see how that works out. My own subject loyalty situation. I have 19 subjects. Sort by loyalty. Oh boy! Oh, this has been a negative change for me. Oh, this was not the case. No loyalty issues here. Hella loyalty issues now. Okay. Some of these are really bad. Centralization is really hurting that, apparently. Okay, fair enough. Taking back a location from a revolter is now minus 95, not plus 95% cost. That's a big change. That's a big change. Okay. Added border percentage option, opinion mechanic from EU4, which creates a bit more conflict. Okay. Each vassal and fiefdom gives a small drift to decentralization. Yo, that's a massive change. Holy, okay. Do I now then have horrific moves towards decentralization? What am I getting for that? Fiefdoms minus 0.12, vassals minus 0. Okay, I don't like that at all. That's really, really naff. Okay, not a fan, but okay, we'll probably be able to work it out. Civil wars now automatically end when a union between a tag and civil war opponent is about to happen. Okay. Raised levies for the subject no longer impact subject loyalty. Oh, thank God. That's great. Basically, all my subjects are loyal. I go to war. They're now all disloyal. That sucked. That really sucked. Adjusted colonial nation loyalty values to take something into account, maybe. Reduce a lot of subject loyalty from advances. Why? If a country moves its capital, anyone who knew the old capital now discovers the new capital. Fair enough. Border feud CB works properly. Enable the request from subject actions from the subject to the overlord. Okay. Can't leave coalition mid-war. Fixed immediate war score versus tiny nations with no cores. I didn't know we had that anyway. Conquistadors become normal location-based countries when they become a colonial nation. Finally, that's a nice fix. Manually doing a shadow retreat is now 10% loss instead of 50. What this is, again, people generally didn't use it because it was terrible. But you can order a full retreat, and this would basically turn this 10k into 5k, and they would just run away, right? They'd be able to bypass forts. They'd be able to basically stop themselves from being annihilated if there was a huge army ready to crush them. Now it's only 10%. I might actually use that button now, and maybe use that button. Being able to recruit to a boarded army from a location. This annoyed me yesterday quite a bit, so I'm glad that's fixed. Fixed exiling armies in places to declare war on. Levies now disband if the locations they come from are lost. This is an interesting one. This makes the Timurids really strong. It's like, if you're at war with somebody who has raised a bunch of levies and you conquer those locations, those levies basically get deleted. That's going to make Timurids super powerful. I mean, they already are, but even more powerful. Complete refactoring of several combat algorithms like damage dealing, initiative, and combat speeds, and exposing them in more helpful tooltips. Into more helpful tools. Yeah, okay. Patrol Seas works for Hanseatic League. Fixed an issue where mill tactics had an impact on naval battles. I feel like this was fine, but okay. Cost of transporting levies now scales with the size of the levy, making them cost the same to transport as regulars. This is annoying because I quite liked levies costing less to transport. They have less equipment than my Giga cannon stack. Right? These obviously I have to transport the cannons, whereas if I'm transporting levies, they're going to take up less space. But well, whatever. Reduce age penalty for levies in the Age of Revolutions to 10 instead of 20%. Allowed inland exploration. Fantastic fix. Or a needed fix. Necessary fix. Fishing village now applies a small bonus to harbor capacity, and now you can colonize Iwo. I don't know where Iwo is. Sounds like a Japanese area. Also, this is kind of huge. Fishing village applying a small bonus. Let me see how small that bonus is. Fishing village is now 0.02 harbor capacity. But the thing is, you can stack these. Like, that's 10. Right there that I just built. I got up to 11. So the harbor capacity here is going to go up by... I remind myself, it's 0.02 per, right? Yeah, so I can get plus 20. A full dock, a dry dock, gives me plus 0.15. So now I can get better harbor capacity out of rural areas than I can out of urban. Although, I mean, urban, I also have the wharf in here that is giving me 0.10. So, yeah, okay, fair enough. But this is the dry dock. The regular dock, that's less. Oh, just let me look at the older version. Here it is, anyway. So the dock itself is 0.10, then the wharf is 0.10, so you're getting 0.20. So if you got a rural area that can get 10 fishing villages, you can have as much harbor capacity as an urban area. Obviously, it's going to cost more. Like, these are not, they're not free buildings, but it's, the fishing villages are now amazing. All I'm saying, fishing villages, huge buff. Huge buff. Pops no longer lose lots of literacy instantly if max literacy is reduced. Changes the modifier of the Renaissance to be cultural influence percentage instead of flat, as originally intended. So that is, if we go into ages, let's see who spawned Renaissance Parma. So if we go to Parma, which is... Where are you at? There you are. Now we've got Birthplace of Renaissance giving... maybe it's only because I've got, I'm loading a save. It's not going to change the modifier mid-save, but this will now be percentage modifier. Navies no longer keep army-based nations without armies alive. Okay. Added more lumber to Scotland. Corrected the German dynamic name of Poznan, so it's now Posen. Removed some Mamluk alliances with Beyliks that were too weak, so things like Karaman will no longer be allied with the Mamluks. This is a buff to the Ottomans for sure. Hendrik van Rigenaar is not the heir of Brabant anymore. Changed Aragonese localization of the locations of Aragon into medieval Aragonese. Made all setup and content instances of the German name Bernard to use the dynamic name instead. Removed duplicate character instances of the Bishop Bernard von Lippe, ruler of Paderborn. Corrected the death date of the Teutonic Order Hochmeister Werner von Orseln, so it's aligned with the ruler term 1. Added the correct Alès location to the cause of Toulouse. A bunch of situation fixes as well. Italian war situation now requires the actor to not have any levies raised. Western Schism getting loads of support to whoever had the most dip rep only. This is a buff to the Pope. France got a nerf here. AA will now use declare obedientia action more flexibly. That's lovely. A huge nerf to France again. Fixed issue where the Rise of the Turk situation displayed incorrect end requirements. Missing localization for war deck on Nanbok Chuo situation. Background illustrations to the Rise of the Turk related events. Italian leagues now be created 2 years after one of them was dissolved by a war. Issue that indefinitely prevented new Italian leagues from being created. Becoming a revolutionary target no longer spawns units every month. I have never saw that, but that's interesting. Block the CB from being used against countries supporting the same side. I already thought this was the case. I played Japan and I couldn't declare war on people on the same side because of this. Okay. Fair enough. Bunch of Rise of the Turks things been changed. Ending now ends correctly. No longer takes into account subjects as contenders. Fix the Sengoku missing a clan and showing a blank one. Okay. Increase the percent chance of Castilian Civil War disaster occurring. Spread of Islam during the death of High and Work disaster now correctly spawns a Sufi lodge. Alright. Disaster of the Chinese dynasty now correctly resets variables on completion. Death of claimant. Caught in country disaster now grants 2 new country modifiers based on whether the player wants to eventually become liberal or absolutist. Looking forward to seeing what that is. And now it reduces estate satisfaction by minus 10%. Wasn't it 20 before? Is this a buff to people? No idea. International organizations, fixed independence war target, improved authorization, expanding Shinto. What do we got in here? Let's see. Here's a good one. Protestant Union and Catholic League will no longer be locked into a deadlock when either leader is in a union with another leader. Additionally, union members will now try to join the side that already contains one of their union partners. This one's huge. A lot of people saw that when you have Protestant Union and Catholic League spawning, they would have, in the situation, the same dude on both sides. Because the leader of the union was the overlord, or not the overlord, but in the same union with this person who was leading the other league. And so he was fighting himself. And trust no one, not even yourself. But that's now fixed. That's really, really nice. Unified external diplomacy policy of unions now makes the AA less likely to declare wars, as it adds negative aggressiveness and more carefulness. It also gives -2 plus 25% stab cost on no CB wars, and now unlocks enforced peace country interaction on junior partners. Okay. That's kind of cool, I guess. Unified external diplomacy makes the AI less likely to declare wars. But is this for just junior partners, or is this for everyone? Because I don't want to see it for everyone. Unified external diplomacy, right? If you are the leader, or not you, if the AI is the leader of a union and they have this, are they then less likely to declare wars as well? That kind of needs a little clarification, potentially. Some events here, a couple that I think are relevant. Florentine event consolidation of power no longer fires while Florence has a major reform. This is, I believe, one that I had reported as a bug, because I had Florence as I was playing as Florence. I had this event fire. I had a major reform, Signora, and this gave you dynastic Signora, I believe, something along those lines. But then it deleted my dynastic Signora that I'd just gotten, and I basically lost the new thing because I already had the old thing, which really sucked, like, a lot. I'm trying to find my book report and see, because it might not be Dynasty Senior, but it's something along those lines. But it really, really annoyed me quite a lot. And it would ideally not be that way. It might not be Dynasty Senior, but it's something along those lines. But I don't want this to not fire if I have a major reform, because I'm pretty sure they start with a major reform, and what you're just not gonna have. You're gonna have to spend stability to get rid of that so that you can fire an event to give you a just make the event replace your major reform. Like, surely that's the intelligent thing to do here. Another interesting one. Annexing Rome as a Catholic now triggers an event to potentially return it to the Pope, and if you decline, then what? I would like to find out what that does. The Roman event Gemistus Plethon now activates Hellenic religion. Hopefully Hellenic religion actually has some stuff. Holy League Crusade should now correctly have Constantinople as the war goal. Oh god. Holy League Crusade ending events no longer fire in separate piece. Fix the second Roman event Hand for Peace can no longer attempt to marry a dead ruler to the Byzantine princess. Florentine event formation of Medici Bank is now also available for Tuscany. Good. If you manage to form Tuscany fast, then you just never find the Medici Bank being a thing. But yeah, fixed missing dynamic localization in the Hussite Wars. Now it correctly uses the commoner as a state name in the text. Radical Reforms event can now only fire in and after the Age of Reformation. Actually, that's just, I mean, whatever. Radical Reforms is such a good event in EU4, and EU5, it's just tragic. Absolutely tragic. Yeah, cool. Government stuff, though. Fix some broken localization in the Latin Empire formable. This is like one of the most disappointing formables I think I've seen yet. It's got no vibes at all in it. Yeah, it's kind of a disappointing one. Romania now is a level 3 formable, enabling Transylvania and Moldavia to form it. Made some reforms free by adding a +1 reform slot to each of them. The Daedong Beob, Sede policy, and Powerful Viziers. I don't know if I've played with any of those. Okay, let's see here. Oh, sadness! The House of Parliament building now employs 200 nobles instead of 2,000. That's a huge nerf. Is that retroactive? Am I now gonna suffer that in Antwerp? Where's my Houses of Parliament? No! Sad. That's why I've got almost 2,000 available nobles to be employed, because my Houses of Parliament got nerfed into the dirt. And yes, this is something that you want to have. These nobles, 2,000 nobles here are 2,000 dudes that are purchasing goods on your market. This was amazing. And now it's just heavily nerfed, which is a little sad. Rebalance where the Japanese clans are about to build their buildings. Are the Japanese clans able to, like, exist after 1400? Because that would be, not clans, but basically right now, or maybe not right now, maybe I'll have to give them a test, but as soon as you hit 1400, no matter how strong you are as a Japanese clan, you game over. You just straight up game over. So, bleh. Hellenic Faith grants infantry combat ability instead of levy efficiency. Nice, okay. Few people are going to be able to do it, but whatever. Changing religion now always automatically removes any excommunication against the country. So, I've been excommunicated. Okay, I'll go Protestant then. Screw you. Yeah, that's fine. Added an invite foreign cleric action. Christian countries can spend religious influence to spawn a new high admin cleric with a foreign culture. That's cool. Hanseatic member special status now pays much less manpower. Dubious claims on province and the Parliament-approved claims on province CBs are no longer available to be fabricated via the spy network. I didn't know they were there. Since when were these a thing? Okay, never mind. They're not anymore. Fair enough. Here's another huge fix. So, people noticed that even though the fix for the Emperor, annexing random land just stopped being so much of a thing, it still happened on occasion. And you can see it here with Bohemia owning a bunch of Brescia. That is absolutely fixed now, because if there is no land to be able to be released, it will release a completely new tag instead of granting the land directly to the Emperor. Huge. Absolutely huge. Absolutely huge. Very nice. Cap the minimum value of excommunication. Excommunication is no longer possible where curia actions are otherwise blocked, so I guess you can't do it during the Western Schism. Cool. The negotiate succession law diplo action now changes the heir religion law to a policy that's actually compatible with your religion. Fantastic. So, yeah, in other words, if you're Orthodox and your junior partner is Catholic, you would force them to take the same religion group policy instead of the same religion policy group one. That's awesome. Makes unions much more viable. Fix an issue with Renaissance Mamluks only having 50 men and tweak their existing extra bonuses. Expanded plausible areas of spawning Renaissance to all of northern Italy. Fantastic. That means the actual crazy part about that is Renaissance. It spawned in Parma, but if you play with the historical option, it spawned 100% of the time in Florence, right? 100% of the time. If you played with dynamic, it will spawn in Florence 0% of the time because it could only spawn in Emilia-Romagna, Lombardy, Veneto, Friuli. And Florence is in the Tuscany region, which is not here. Like, it was very much a strange situation. But that's been fixed, so that's kind of nice. Unlock the Warrior Society's advance from Tenochtitlan. Okay, 2 advances from Sicily and Naples for the 2 Sicilies formable as well. Alright then. And then corrected some instances of this opinion of previous when it was applied incorrectly. Blah, blah, blah. Hungarian tag not having a name. Hungarian, Croatian, Czech, and Slovak regnal numbers now appear as lowercase i's. Alright. Some 2D art have been changed. Polished some disaster illustrations, flags for Baltic formables, icons for stuff, a bunch of AI issues. Let me have a look at these. Ottomans no longer switch their religion away from Sunni when playing with historical AI, so we're not going to see a plethora of Orthomans anymore. Let me see if that has actually happened in my game here. It has done in a lot of people's games. Yes, it has! The Kingdom of the Ottomans. Led by, who are you? Pontic Orthodox fella. Sure, that's vibes. That will no longer happen, so that's going to be huge for people. Added AI score for research speed modifier. Okay, increase AI score to unlock days full advance. If that actually does anything now, I'm not sure. Fix an AI issue causing AI to incorrectly use cultural assimilation cabinet action in locations with negative 100% assimilation speed. I didn't know that was a thing, but okay. Fun. Fixed issue where large cities would be too desirable for AI to take in peace deals, causing border gore. That's huge as well. Maybe we're going to see some more viable borders, some cleaner borders, and some more realistic looking expansions rather than France taking like random cities in like Lancaster that they're going to have zero control on just because they're larger cities. Huge. Absolutely huge. Love that. Another couple here as well. AI Ottomans now prefers to claim against provinces that aren't Constantinople, as it often led them to lose the war against the Romans, which is kind of nice. Basically, this means that we may see more stronger Ottomans in the future, which is obviously, what most people want. Increase the desire to attack a country if they have a good CB available. This is scary for anyone bordering France, of course. Compared to fabricating one from scratch. So yeah, this is going to be, again, increased aggressiveness from the AI is obviously huge. But very nice indeed there. Some map modes, added stripes to non-endemic diseases map mode, trade range map mode, tactical map mode, shows provincial capitals. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Give me that tactical map mode. It's ugly as sin, but it works. It works. This is very, very helpful. That is getting a good hotkey assigned to it from me for now. That's awesome. Some alerts. Anything here interesting? Not really. There. Here's one. It actually might be in the changelog, but I just happen to think, oh, you know what, maybe I'll check this. This pin used to be kind of ass, because this bar of stuff would disappear, yeah? Now, we pin it in place, the whole thing stays there. Fantastic change. I still would like this bar to be wider, or, even better, just hide all of this stuff behind my face on the bottom right, where they belong. They have the map modes belong down here. I'm never going to stop harping on about that, because it's just objectively true. So hopefully we'll get that. I'd also like this to not be there. I'd like to set my own default, but either way, that's another great change. Okay, this I also find to be absolutely huge. Upgrade buildings button added a control and shift functionality to upgrading buildings. Made it not impossible to build more levels of the upgraded building type than current levels of the obsolete building. Okay. I didn't know that this was a problem, actually, but very huge. Let's go and check out that situation. I'm sure I have some marketplaces. Yeah, I have 33. I've got a bunch in Den Bosch and Getreutenberg. So, if I look in the merchant quarters, then this is still kind of ass, so maybe not looking there. Maybe we do still look for marketplaces. And then if I shift-click, then it will start upgrading to merchant quarters as many times as possible. Is that going to build 5, or is it going to build 6? It's going to build 5. Okay. I'm happy with this. This seems like a decent situation to me. That's... Oh, hang on. That's not good. That's just deleting marketplaces rather than building extra... or deleting the upgrades that I was building. Okay. That's slightly less great, but still, this is an improvement. Being able to shift and control click here is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I love that change. I love that change. Yeah. Estate tax sliders now update the game state immediately when moved, fixing a broken extrapolation of the state satisfaction equilibrium. Sure, if you say so. Yeah, good stuff there. Correct progress for Settled Frontier, stalled constructions in the short outline version. A bunch of tooltips have been changed and upgraded and blah, blah, blah. And then some other changes here as well. Yeah, fantastic. Some 3D art got changed. Some audio got changed. Modders have more stuff. Some desync issues. Awesome. Exit and via Alt 4 and Iron Man now saves the game. It already did. I don't know what people saying, oh, just Alt F4 to it always saved the game for me. It always saved the game. You know what didn't save the game though? You know what didn't save the game? It was actually kind of useful. Task Manager. I just accidentally deleted a bunch of my buildings. But hey, it doesn't matter because now it didn't save. Birding is still available. I mean, it just is. A bunch of bug fixes here as well. Road construction. Issues with levy cooldowns, huge as well. Yes. Prevented units from moving if no one was looking at them. What is this, a frickin' photon? Anyway. Huge. Absolutely amazing update. I am going to go and play it and see if there are some nice things that I've missed here that I can enjoy. But I'm already liking basically everything that I'm reading here. If you have played with the update, let me know what your favorite change has been so far. Are you going to update to 1.0.8? I'm never going back. I think this is fantastic. Definitely worth doing. Of all of the updates to make opt-in, this one should have been the one that they didn't. This one should have just been like, yes, you are upgrading. Either way, looking forward to hearing your responses, your replies, your feedback, your thoughts, and I will see you guys in the next video. Toodaloo.